The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know what? I lost my Gello. I never liked Gello, but for some reason, Gello is the thing I lost today. So I lost my Gello in Mugello for a multi-class hour. This is what I thought of when we switched the model this season to drivers sponsoring races and making up their own names and logos. I knew somebody was going to do something fun, and it didn't take very long. I'm very glad to see it. I'm very glad to be here at Mugello, and I think this is going to be a fun one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with Mugello, we'll buckle in because you've got, I'm going to say this, you've got a multi-class hour to learn, don't you worry. So welcome everybody in here to PTR TV, where we are in round number 2 of the season. My Gello has been missing for a multi-class hour. And this week is going to be brought to you by the wonderful Wyatt Kennedy, who came up with this name. I tweaked the logo a little bit to what he sent me. Nothing against him, just tweaked it a little bit and made it just look a little prettier with the overlay. But he had a good idea. I just had to add a little finishing touch. No offense to him. He'll probably yell at me later. Don't you worry. But it's going to be myself, Brad, here in the booth with Patrick, as always. Patrick, sir, good evening. Did you find your Gello?
I'm still trying to find it. I've been looking for the last about 45 minutes. I have not been able to find my Gello here at Mugello. So if somebody finds a random red cup of Gello, probably with a can of a nondescript energy drink by it, please return it to the broadcast booth as soon as possible, because honestly, I really do need it. But all jokes aside, I mean, it's awesome to be back here at this circuit. A circuit that's been around for quite some time here. 3.23 miles, 15 turns, and a historic circuit that's been around since 1974. And it is a track known for high speeds, high chaos, and high racing excitement.
I'm going to break the hearts of everyone here that's an Elbows Out fan. I teased that there would be rain here. You see what's going on? Just to confirm, let's look at our weather analysis. Track moisture, 0%. We were lied to. We were lied to. There is no rain. As bad as I want there to be rain, there is no rain. I have a problem with it, but I'll argue with admin later.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's unfortunate. I'm sure some drivers are relieved, because there are some drivers who really just do not like rain. So I'm sure there's quite a few of them that are not exactly too disheartened that there's not going to be any rain here as we come down to the final 10 seconds of qualifying here, as we go ahead and get ready for round 2 of the season here at Elbows Out.
Yeah, round 2 here is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll cover this again really quick, but if you're unfamiliar with the success ballast, there is a success ballast here, so if you're on the podium the previous week, you do not qualify this week. So that's going to be interesting to watch and see how it plays out. But of course, remember, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time, do not make it your last time. Make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bells. Do all the things you can do here to support us for free. And while you do such a thing, we're going to go ahead and get our PTR TV starting lineup rolling here for the 49 cars. Yes, 49. I counted them. That are going to be taking on today's event as we get this going. And starting things out here, let's go down through our first class here of multi-class. and it's LMP2s with Dylan Ackley and Kel Hagen going to be rounding out the front row here. Moving forward from there, it is Nicholas Paletti, Aiden Garcia, Austin Diltz, Fozzie Fazillo, Emily Milkey, Paul Boyle, Andrew Parker, Maxwell Woodman C, Jonathan Lanton, Dwight Hibbs, Bob Carey, Luke Patrick, J.D. Daniel, and Malik Bass, and then Cody Perodato. The winner last week will start tail end Charlie of the field here as we go through. Moving on to GT3 Pros, looking through here at this group, and no surprise to see Paul Nye, the donut guy, going to be starting up front with Callan Tobin to his outside. Zach Nerney and Tyler Stenick, William Westbrook, Brian Metterly, Mike Sermon, Brandon Burns, Parker Chiapuzzo, Ethan Murphy, Colin Bourdon, Hugo Ortiz, Julius Mashevsky, Peter Nodwell, Martin Merkva, Travis Bell, Ian Tanzius moving from there. Then in GT3 AM, this is where things get fun, I believe. Kyle O'Grady, Nathan Hemperly, Dayton McGuire, Matthew Santerciero, Derek Rice, Craig Yor, Rick Hughes, Wyatt Kennedy, Philip Keyser, Patrick Rich, Daniel Pinero, Andre Wedderburn, Aaron Clayball, Joshua Bibb, and Christopher Ondera. Again, the 49 cars are going to be taking on this race here as we go through. And Patrick, the details of the race, if it's your first time in Elbows Out, you're in for some good racing, but if you're not, this is how things go, Patrick.
Indeed. 60 minutes. You're required to take all 4 tires. Whenever you take your pit stop, you can take 2 tires, but the stewards are not going to look upon that fondly, so you are required to take all 4 tires here. And you have 3 separate classes. You have your LMP2s, and then we split the GT3s into Pro and AM. But you still do see a lot of battling in between the Pro and AM class, so I think this race could be a lot of fun. Once again, traffic management is going to be the name of the game here around Mugello. I mean, there's 15 corners and quite a few good spots to pass, but there are a few particular sections where trying to get past this lap traffic as a quicker LMP2 car is not going to be easy by any stretch.
Not at all, but I'm still excited to see how the drivers try to handle it here tonight. I think it's going to be an exciting one to watch here. And of course, as we go through and watch everyone pace their way through, let's talk about the keys to the races I found it tonight. One of these is a completely moot point, though, and I'm a little upset about it. LMP2 major traffic management. There are sectors of this track where traffic is going to be an absolute nightmare for this LMP2 class. And in GT3s, I said consistency and pace. I was told tires can overheat a little bit in GT3s as well, so keep your tires cool. And then for everyone, I said watch the weather because I thought we might have a race that would transition wet to dry. Of course, that's not what happens. But hey, I can't have what I want all the time, can I? No. I'm asking a little bit too much here. So, everyone pacing through. Final thoughts here, Patrick.
I was going to say, this should be a really entertaining race here around Mugello. It's a fun track. I've raced on it a few times. It is a lot of fun. I'm sure these drivers are going to have a lot of fun too, but we're going to see if we can go another race without bringing out the caution, because cautions are a new thing this season as we're about to get underway here for 60 minutes at Mugello, right at the end of this pace lap here.
Cautions are a thing, and I was told that they were set up incorrectly last week, so I would be willing to bet that we will see this iRacing pace car more than once tonight here as we go through, assuming that they were set and prepped to go. That Porsche safety car bringing its way through, Dylan Ackley, Kel Hagen leading the field, Paletti and Garcia behind. How will they handle here? Paul Nye Sr. leading the GT3 field. How will he handle things here as we go through? Everybody trying to warm their tires, trying to get things through. The key here is to keep a consistent pace and keep things together, which again is something that is easier said than done as the cars come down through the final few corners here, getting ready to go. This is somewhat long of a pace lap compared to what I thought it would be, but hey, the drivers are just trying to get things together and make sure that they are set to go. You can see the gap forming between the field here, the GT3s and the LMP2s as they go through and get ready to go.
Indeed, we're going to go ahead and split these classes up, and they're going to get ready for racing here. very, very shortly around Mugello for 60 minutes for the Mugello Multiclass Hour here at the Mugello circuit, brought to you by Mugello, which apparently I was told where Mugello is, and it might be on the Mugello helmet, so I'll have to go check that out after today's race as we're about to go green here for 60 minutes around Mugello.
Coming down out of turn 15, known as Bucine, and it is going to be Dylan Ackley leading everyone forward here, and that 145 with that 49 of Kellhagen. How will they handle the race start as they come through? You see the GT3s just behind, coming around, coming down, and it is going to be green flag here for 60 minutes of trying to find the Gello here at Mugello. LMP2s get away well. GT3s will get away just behind, heading down into turn 1. San Donato. How will they handle in through? It looks like everybody getting through fairly well for the first time. Up front, it is Dylan Ackley, Kellhagen trying to find their way through. The LMP2s going 3 wide further back in the pack. That's JD Daniel with Woodman, C, Carey. They're all going through. Let's check in on the GT3s as they hit the first turn here at Mugello. And it looks like in the front, Paul Nye, Callan Tobin keeping it side by side, and there's a spin in the background. Parker Chiapuzzo is around, sitting stationary, middle of the track. Thankfully, nobody hits him. He holds the brakes, he gets through, and caution is out. As we had, I believe, more incidents happen. That's a graveyard of the pros.
Phew. I'm sure there's definitely a better way to test if the caution flag would work here in the second race than causing a multi-car pileup. I mean, you could show me that picture next to a picture of an I-4 incident, and I could not tell you which is which. But we're going to go ahead and get that PTR TV instant replay here queued up, so we could just take a look at exactly what happened here. So here we go, going around. Oh, Chiapuzzo just gets tapped and then just gets spun around like a ballerina. And then here's the next incident, the Aston Martin thinking about the inside. Oh, we'll see who's going to be the culprit here for this one. The Mustang checks up. Oh, that is because of Chiapuzzo.
So I'm trying to see if I can queue up the second incident here. This is all trying to get around Chiapuzzo. Here is Ian going around. This is slightly sort of out of kilter for me, so just a moment. I'm not used to trying to find cautions in a... Okay, so that is where things started out, actually. So we're going to play that through again with William Westbrook here. Because I believe this is where it started. So that's one of the LMPs going slow, and then that's Zach Nerney. So let's watch what happened to Zach here as he went through. So Zach got a little too much sausage, came around, and then he was backwards, and then everyone behind checking up, going through, trying to work their way through. There were spins in the background, and that puts us in caution number 1 here on the run of the day.
I mean, that's just something that just tends to happen sometimes, especially when you have lap 1. A lot of these drivers are going to be really close to each other. So sometimes if one person makes a mistake, it just leads to this massive domino effect, where you'll see a lot of other cars do exactly what happened there. They'll check up, they'll get into the grass, they'll spin, and also their tires are likely not even up to proper temperatures yet, so cold tires on this track could mean a good amount of spins here, especially with the heavy cloud cover. So this track surface isn't going to be super warm because the sun is nowhere to be seen here. So it's a very dark, overcast track. So trying to get those tires up to proper temperature is going to be a bit of a tricky situation to handle. And that's not just in LMP2s or GT3s, it's in both classes.
Yeah, look at this here, pacing 45 miles an hour. I mean, that is miserable in an LMP2, I can tell you right now. That is not at all where you want to be pacing, as we also see, GT3's pacing just as slow here. Paul Nye, 45 miles an hour. I mean, you've got some of the GT3s in the background who are trying to catch up and get their way through, but I mean, you have to follow the field here. Let's see, does anyone decide to pit as we get this whole field back together and going? And what is officially the first caution here in Elbows Out Racing, and leads as it stands. Dayton McGuire is leading the GT3 EMs. GT3 Pro still led by Paul Nye Sr., and Dylan Ackley is still leading Kel Hagen in LMP2s at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see who can capitalize on the success ballast that has been placed on some other cars here, because Dylan Ackley, if we remember from last season, at our season finale, he just showed up and took the fight straight to Cody Perodato, and he ended up winning on his debut. So we know that he is a quick driver in the LMP2 machine. So we'll see if Dylan Ackley can hold on to this lead and bring the number 145 to victory lane here.
Well, I can tell you right now, Cody Perodato is already up to P number 16, sitting at the back of the LMP2. Excuse me, the back of the LMP2 field here. So he looks like he is going to be feeling pretty good here, that number 51. We'll just have to see how he capitalizes as they go through here. Continuing under safety car at the moment. Our first official safety car here in Elbows Out Racing League as they get things going and moving here. Doesn't look like we lost anyone in that incident that I can see. It looks like everyone did make it out, I believe. I could be wrong on that. So, but from my information, it looks like everyone did make it out.
Which is always a good thing, you know, because that incident did look pretty scary, too. I mean, there's a lot of cars we saw there was definitely a massive reaction from the both of us here in the commentary booth as that incident did take place. A lot of cars into the grass, into the gravel, and honestly, I am surprised that we didn't lose anyone, but I'm also very glad we didn't lose anyone. So we still have all of our drivers still racing here, and honestly, I am really excited to see how the rest of this race is going to play out.
Oh, here's an interesting note. There's a few cars that have decided to make their pit stop here under this caution. I have to wonder, is this strategized or is this because they took damage? Well, judging by who it is in the pits, if I could get a good camera shot of it, it is probably damage. It's Medderly, Tanzius, Luke Patrick, Zach Nerney, Aaron Clayball, and Brian Medderly with Kyle O'Grady. They have decided to pit in here under the safety car. So pretty interesting decision there from them to see. Probably repairing damage and getting going again.
I know that's definitely the case for Luke Patrick, because Luke Patrick, that was the LMP2 car that was involved in that scuffle that did bring out this caution and the safety car. So, I mean, I'm not surprised on Luke Patrick's front. I'll have to go through the spotter's guide and look at these other cars to see if these were the other cars that were involved in the incident, but I think that's a pretty safe bet, honestly, because I feel like it'd just be a bit too early to try to get this pit stop in. I mean, you're only required to make a single pit stop, but in the back of a lot of these drivers' minds is that, especially with the incident happening so early on, I'm sure a lot of these drivers, especially these drivers towards the front, are going to be hoping for another caution, at least wells a ways past the halfway point of this race here in Mugello.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out if we get another caution, when we get another caution. Because, of course, for cautions to happen, somebody has to wreck. And so when that happens, I mean, that's never ideal going through here. It looks like, I'm trying to tell if the safety car will be in this lap. It doesn't appear so at the moment as we continue along pacing through. So everyone trying to get under order here. We continue to pace along, and you know, this just sort of, I don't want to say it affects the mindset of the drivers as they go, but it is something that, you know, when you get going and you're trying to race hard and then it's an immediate safety car through, you have to sort of take a moment and take a sort of mental reset, and it throws you off your rhythm, that's for sure.
Yeah, honestly, because some drivers really get into that flow state and just kind of get into a rhythm, and then that safety car is such a massive change of pace. I mean, they're driving about 45 miles an hour here compared to a lot of these drivers who are probably hitting 145 miles or so over that on that back straight. So I mean, yeah, it really just throws off your entire rhythm that you had in this race. And consistency is key, but when you have a safety car, it kind of just throws that consistency sort of out of the window because you have to change your whole basically mode of operation because you're going to be behind a safety car. You can't make an overtake. You have to drive painfully slow, and overall, it could really mess you up. And even not to mention, you could get a bad safety car restart and just start falling down the order.
Yeah, that's the big risk of it too, because nobody got their tires heated up. And that's one of the interesting things to sort of see is, you know, nobody got to heat up their tires. Nobody got to warm things up. And we'll have another lap here to try to get things going. But again, here's a reminder of what our weather looks like right now. So we are sitting at a 67-degree air temp, 73-degree track temp. I mean, that's not very warm. That's not giving you anything at all here on this track to warm your tires up here under a 45-mile-an-hour safety car. So as we go through, I mean, you know, you do what you can, and that's it. Is we're going to go one more lap under the safety car. Safety car in this lap will be the call as they go through. So they will have to do one more 4-minute trundling slow lap around this track before we get back going green.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a short track by any stretch of the imagination. It's about 3.2 miles around, so you know that these drivers are going to be kind of itching to get ready to go. 5.2 kilometers around the circuit, and there is a massive straight where those tires, I mean, you're going to have to start weaving on the straight to get heat into those tires, and then, even then, you could just get caught off on a restart, and then, like we said earlier, because, I mean, it's something that can happen to any class, and especially if it's an LMP2 that has a really bad start. But then sometimes the GT3s might have to try to weave around that LMP2 car that kind of had a tough launch. So I'm going to be really curious to see how this restart goes. This is a good chance for Cody Perodato to start kind of slicing through the field here, because it is, even after a safety car is involved here, it is a very good run down to San Donato, aka turn 1. So I think he's got a pretty good shot here, but another driver that really needs to nail this restart, it's got to be Dylan Ackley.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to really watch how all these drivers handle the pressure of a restart, something that we don't usually see here, but I'm very much on board with you on the thought of how is this driver specifically going to handle it? How are we going to see the likes of Cody Perodato carve through as he goes? And just to give you an idea of what he's done, he's went up 27 cars at this point. He's passed 27 cars. So he's passed every GT3, basically, to even get to the back of the LMP field. Now, granted, I'm going to say I'm not sure if that's maybe just advantage of the caution that got him there or what happened, because he didn't qualify. So he did start way back, but it is showing that he's up 27 places in the overall run of things, and he's currently sitting P7 or P16 overall. So that would leave one to guess that he had a great race start, and I would imagine he's going to have another great start or a great restart here as we go into it.
Indeed. I mean, we know Cody Perodato is quick. Him and his teammate Antonio Costa really did just dominate last season. So we'll see if history will repeat itself. But very soon, we do have a former race winner leading this field to green. It is Dylan Ackley going ahead and leading the field for LMP2s. Paul Nye Sr. leading the GT3 Pros, and Dick McGuire leading the GT3 AMs here. As we go to Paul Nye Sr. and Callan Tobin, the front runners in that GT3 Pro category. They'll lead the GT3s to green, as Dylan Ackley is going to go ahead and get ready to go on the restart here with about 46 minutes to go on the clock. We're about to get the restart here as the safety car is going to pull into the pits right after this corner.
And if I could click a correct button, that would be great. 15 minutes of racing. We haven't put a full green flag lap down due to lap 1 incidents in turn number 6, I think it was, if I can do my track maps right here. But we're going to go through. Let's see if it's second verse, same as the first. We're going to come through, and it is Dylan Ackley, Kel Hagen, again leading to the front here. The soul of racing, bringing things along against Evo. Let's see what happens. Green flag is out from Barney the Flagman. We're back underway for the second time here in Elbows Out Racing. We get going here. You can see Kel Hagen immediately diving to the inside there behind Dylan Ackley, trying to get a run. Dylan Ackley's going to hit the line. We're going to have 3 wide behind here as they come through into the first corner, but everyone seems to be getting away fairly well. Let's check out GT3s as they are now rolling here for the first time, going through, and you can see immediately Callan Tobin takes a dive in and is going to try to hold on here as he holds through. They're going 3 wide in the background behind everyone trying to make a move. That 184 makes a brave move up the inside and is able to gain a couple of positions. There's a spin right there from Mike Sermon. Let's see, does Mike Sermon hold on to it? And that would be the incident cap. As Fozzie Fazzillo is off track. Luke Patrick, it appears, was involved in another incident. Let's go ahead and see if we can't dial up a quick idea of what caused that one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see how things play out here. Oh, there's Sermon trying to go ahead and just send it around the outside. Got a little too much gas. I think he might have been tipped there by that pink Aston Martin, so I think that's what caused his incident, because he didn't look like he lost it too badly there. So we're gonna see what happens again from, actually this is a different incident with Parker Chiapuzio and an Aston Martin trying to go around the outside. We'll see if this causes an incident. No, it looks like it's all clear through there. Oh, there's Mike Sermon there, just back on the track.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get an idea here of what really caused this. So, looking through. Okay, so there was an LMP2 moment up front as well. It looks like. So that's Cody Peridotto. Yeah, it does look like that was Kel Hagen. But I don't actually have anything for Kel giving me an idea of what might have happened to him there. So let's go as we try to digest this. So that wasn't Kel.
That could have been Lanton. That could have been Lanton as well, because they have the same livery. So that could be Jonathan Lanton as well.
And that it was. So let's. I don't like doing this normally, but that is also. It looks like Fozzie Fazzillo off in the same time as Lanton. So Lanton, it looks like, got a little bit of help there. Fozzie Fazzillo was off track. So this is what happened to Fozzie Fazzillo. You see him just go off right there to the side. We're going to try to pick this up from a different camera angle. So it looks like he locked up the rears and went through. And at the same time that happened, I mean, Rick Hughes, it looks like, got in an incident with someone. So Jonathan Lanton had his moment right here. So it's just a case of enough incidents happened at once to trigger the caution. So the way that this works, for those of you who may be unfamiliar, and I had to do a little bit of research on this myself, so there is an incident cap built into iRacing for a lap, or within a time frame. So if within a certain amount of time, enough incident points get racked up through the entire field, and you get incident points by going off track, having contact with another car, losing control of your car. If enough of those happen in a set time period, that is what triggers the caution.
Yeah, so I mean, once again, that wasn't really because of any major incident. It was just a collection of smaller incidents which ended up tripping that caution. So that's why we are back under yellow flags once again, going through what probably feels to these drivers is just like I-95 traffic, just kind of all backed up. It's like coming home from work during rush hour.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this is again, this is one of those, you're a racing driver, you want to go racing. This is painful for them at this point. They want to go racing and go through. Now, I will also say, for their benefit, at some point, and I don't know the exact answer on when this is, I'm going to try to dive through the rule book while we're sitting here, which I remember most of the rule book, but some of the rule book I don't remember. There is a certain point where the ability for cautions to trigger turns off, and you will not see that happen anymore, but I don't remember when that is.
I know there's some other simulators that have a similar function. I know for F125, I think it's 4 safety cars, and then it just caps it, and then every other subsequent time is like a virtual safety car, or basically just a glorified full course caution. But yeah, I honestly don't know either. But it does make sense, because otherwise, if you had no limit on it, then there's a chance that we could have just done this whole race under yellows. And I know these drivers. I mean, they're racing drivers. They are all born with a lead foot. They want to just go ahead and just get this race back on the road and go ahead and go full speed around this track, because this is a fun track to drive around. And I know these drivers are just itching, ready to go ahead and just send this one back to green flag conditions. But I mean, they gotta all survive a lap first before we can go ahead and get back racing.
So looking through, there's not any answer. It just says that it monitors for accidents and issues a full course yellow if conditions are met as set by admin. Yeah, this is what I thought would happen, is a lot of people going ahead and pitting in. Actually, not a lot of people. Just, yeah, okay. That's a interesting decision here from our was race leader, Dylan Ackley. He's going to go ahead and pit under this safety car. He is not the only one. A large chunk of that GT3 field is in as well. We can get a good picture of it here as we go through, but I can tell you right now, there's a large amount of people who are pitting, and we're 1 to green here as we get going. So he's going to have to get into the pits, get out of the pits, and then get back in position as quickly as possible. But here's what's going to be interesting. He's now got the advantage of he doesn't have to make a pit stop again.
Yeah, so that could really play really well into these drivers' favors who made the pit stop, because I mean, despite the fact that it really feels like nothing has really fully gotten going here because of the cautions here, there's only a little over halfway of this race left to go. So these drivers who did pit in can pretty much just go ahead and just go for it. They really don't have to worry about managing the tires or managing fuel as much, because they pretty much took everything that they're going to need for the remainder of this 60-minute race here in Mugello. So honestly, these drivers who did pit in, they really just have to focus on themselves, focus on the race, get through any traffic they may run into, and then pretty much from there, the race, in theory, should just come right to them.
This is going to be an interesting one to watch, and I'm kind of excited to see how this one ends, because it's going to be good as it goes through. However, what I will say is that there's still the opportunity for more safety cars. The monitoring for safety cars does not end until 10 minutes left to go in the race. So everyone's got to just keep it clean here at this point, keep it together, and make it to the end. Again, easier said than done, but they've got to do it here as we come through. Everybody in formed together, and let's see how this race goes. I'm going to switch the ticker here from 3 class to showing everyone right now, because I want to see really, well, I said I was going to do that. Perhaps I lied. I 100% lied, so just ignore me as we go. But kind of looking through and getting an idea of how everyone is. I mean, not everyone's necessarily in order overall, there is a little bit of mix-up, I believe, now between GT3s, LMP2s. However, it is going to be interesting to watch how this forms up and how everything comes together now for these drivers. It's going to be an interesting restart here.
I 100% agree, especially because you do have some of those LMP2 drivers kind of mixed in with those GT3s. So once again, that's going to be an interesting situation. Which, it's basically the motto of Elbows Out Racing at this point, where traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, and especially on a restart where everybody's pretty much just going to be gunning it. Then I think that is going to make this restart pretty tricky for these drivers who did pit in. So in that regard, there is a bit of an advantage to not pitting in, but it just really matters if these drivers who did pit in the LMP2 class can really just hold on and just, keep it clean, then, this race is just going to go right to them as this race goes on, because everybody in the front still needs to make a pit stop here. As the safety car is getting ready to pull on in, he pulls on in, and the green flag is soon going to be waved by the good man Barney, who's certainly earning his paycheck here tonight. As we're about to go green, single file line to the start, and it is green flag conditions, and we are back racing the race for the Gello in Mugello, and there's already carnage happening again.
Oh, ho!
What happened there? And I'm surprised we're not under safety car conditions again. But hey, I'm not going to complain. We're back to racing, but lots of drama. I saw a whole fender just get sent to the stratosphere.
So the other thing that's confused me here is we get going green and we have drivers all, we're not done. We're not done. Okay. We are really not done. I'm going to keep it in this blimp cam for a second because it seems to be the only way I can understand what is happening. We're going to have to go back and watch that restart in a moment, because here is the biggest problem I see right now is the fact that everyone in the LMP2 field has a black flag, or had a black flag. It's now gone. I don't know what's happened, but that might have been one of the most confusing starts I think I've seen. I apologize for not having a good answer as to what's happening here. We'll jump back up front here because Andrew Parker and JD Daniel are battling it out for P3, and Cale Hagen and Aiden Garcia are battling it out for the lead. I don't have an answer as to what we just watched, which is unusual for me. Usually I want to say I have a good professional demeanor, but yeah, no, that's kind of game over here. Is JD Daniel is going extremely slow here, but getting going. So, okay, here is what we're going to do. Let's replay transition. We are going to go back to that restart because that was...
I knew it was starting to go south when I saw that. When I saw the engine cover for one of the LMP2s just launch into orbit. I guess we were told that we were going to get rain. We thought it was actual precipitation and not car components raining down from the sky. So here's what happened here. Big spin there. And that was Dylan Ackley who got involved there. There's quite a few LMP2 cars. And they are parting these cars like Moses parting the Red Sea, as these cars just try to get around these stricken LMP2s.
Yeah, this was pure chaos here on the start, and then you had, a sea of carnage that just came through there, and then you send GT3s into that. Just unsighted with nothing to give them but just chaos. Here's where this starts with the GT3s, because then they have big moments going through as well as they go off. So that is Paul Nye, Zach Nerney off and about, and GT3s, I mean, they don't get it together either. But we've missed even more incidents now as we've been in this replay. So that is Zach Nerney, who just got spun. That is heartbreaking for him. That is, I believe, Philip Keyser, I believe. No, I don't actually know who that is that hit Zach Nerney. So disregard anything I just said. That is the 40-something of somebody. I don't know. But Dwight Hibbs got a meatball flag. Philip Keyser has been off. Bob Carey's had a moment, it appears. So yeah, needless to say, there's JD Daniel. Dylan Ackley has just exited the pits going through. So we're going to go back to live pictures now. So this is Dylan Ackley trying to keep this car together here going through in P16 down a lap. And let's see what happens for him as he goes through, as this race is, I mean, more than turned upside down at the halfway race distance.
It's hard to believe we're already at this halfway race distance, because it certainly doesn't feel like we've already been here for 30 minutes, but here we are nevertheless, and we got a really strong battle going on here now. It is the number 72 Aston Martin going ahead and duking it out. That is Hugo Ortiz and William Westbrook battling it out for the final spot on the, actually no, this is for P2 and P3 in the GT3 Pro class, just behind the number 1 in P1 of Tyler Stenick. This is actually a battle for the GT3 lead here with little under half an hour to go.
This is going to be an exciting one to watch here, because this GT3 Pro battle, I mean, it's always a great fight. And you can see behind them, Dayton McGuire, the GT3 AM leader, is currently in a great battle with Colin Bourdon in P4 in GT3 Pro as well. Look at this. This 007 is going to send it around the inside, try to get the run here on the 184 down towards turn 1. Can he clear this? It certainly appears that he can right now. Let's see if he actually does as they go through. This is going to be an exciting one to watch. And let's see here as he goes through and in. And it does look like here into turn 1, Dayton McGuire settles in behind here. He has Julius Mashevsky for a gap, and then behind that is Matthew Santrosiero, who is currently P2 in GT3M. So the Pro and AMs here mixing it up pretty strongly as they go.
Indeed, we do have a pretty much a four-way battle here going on between the classes, and it's I mean, we are back to racing in full green conditions, and we're seeing some really spicy battles, because the nice thing about Mugello is there is a lot of room to battle here, especially in these smaller GT3 cars, because these cars can really duke it out here. There's a lot of good overtaking opportunities as we see a battle here. It is, I believe that is Aiden, no, that's not Aiden Garcia, that's
Bob Carey.
Anyways, it is Bob Carey. Alright, I was thinking that, but anyways, Bob Carey and Austin Diltz battling it out with Paul Boyle just directly behind. And they are going to go ahead and fight it out here for P7 on track. Austin Diltz is pulling a good amount of a gap. Now we have Paul Boyle in the slipstream of Bob Carey just up the road. We'll see if the number 166 can take a position away. Not quite. A bit too much real estate in between the 166 and the 280. This race is still on.
Yeah, continuing these battles all the way up and down the field. I mean, now we also have a battle up front that has come along here. Let's hop on board with Kel Hagen, who is trying to chase down Aiden Garcia currently as he goes through, trying to find some sort of a move to go for this overall race lead as they continue along. And I mean, that gap is closing rapidly between Kel and Aiden. He's gained seconds in a short amount of time here. He's got it down to within half a second now, but it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. And with 25 minutes left, I mean, you could sort of think about not going for a pass. The other problem that these two are going to have, they need to make a pit stop, and Cody Perodato in P3 does not. So they really need to work together and try to get away from Cody Perodato, who is right there on the back of your picture coming through. And that would be more beneficial for them, I think, to try to get away from Cody, build up a bit of a gap. But the fact of the matter is, they are going to lose so much time having to pit under green. They might as well just sort of get rid of their thoughts of finishing on the podium here tonight.
I guess what we can say is that dread it or run from it, Cody Peredato is always gonna arrive, as he started pretty much dead last out of this field because of that success ballast, and I mean that did not stop him. He's already back up. He's in podium contention even if these two did already pit. So he's in a really good spot. Tyler Stanek also in a really good spot. He's got over a 1 second gap to William Westbrook, who does close that gap up quite nicely, but coming out of the hairpin here, the gap is going to continue to ebb and flow between himself and William Westbrook here as they go ahead and begin the next lap. And I mean, Tyler Stanek has done a pretty good job here today, I would say. I mean, he is always very solid. He was solid last season in the BMW and the season before that in the Mustang, and he's back to his old ways in that Mustang, just having a solid race week in, week out.
Having a great run here as he goes through, as now we have more drivers getting into the pits. We've got some GT3s getting mixed up with LMP2s. That is the 088 of Jonathan Lanton carving his way through traffic, trying to get back into the mix after that big moment there on the restart from that second caution as he goes through. Nicholas Paletti also trying to work his way through there in the, I can't remember what he's running. Is it Payday? Is Payday the candy bar sponsor on that car? It is Payday. So he's trying to work his way through in the mix as well, as he's got Joshua Bibb, Andre Wedderburn behind battling. They are battling in GT3 and for P3 going through and around. It's really exciting to sort of watch those battles and where they're going, as more drivers starting to pit in now, realizing they may have missed the mark not pitting there the second time through, which is unfortunate to see as they go through. Nathan Himperly here in a battle with Kyle O'Grady, just looking at some battles further back as they go along. Back up to the front, Paul Boyle here, Bob Carey, they are battling it out right now in the battle for P7 in class. Up front, Kel Hagen has pulled 4 seconds on Cody Peredato, but again, this is all for naught, as Cody Peredato doesn't need to pit, Kel Hagen does.
Yeah, I mean, although in any other situation, we would say that this is really advantageous for Kel Hagen, but like you said earlier, he's still got to pit. He didn't pit under the second safety car, so I mean, he can try. He can run as fast as he can to try to pull this gap from Peredato, but pretty much in the end, he's just going to succumb to the fact that he needs to make that pit stop. And I mean, like you said earlier, it's going to be a really tall order to see himself or the car he was pretty much just fighting tooth and nail with earlier on of Aiden Garcia onto any form of the podium, really, let alone that top step.
Yeah, this is going to be one to really watch and kind of see how it goes as they come through and along. Hugo Ortiz doing a great job here as well in the moment for P3 in the pro field. He's going against Westbrook just ahead in the P2 field. So let's see how they handle things as they develop along. Tyler Stanek in the lead by a pretty good margin here, about 2 seconds as it stands, continuing to find some time here. He's got Aiden Garcia behind. Aiden Garcia currently P11 in class, but P12 overall. So technically passing Stanek would be a pass for position overall for Garcia, which is kind of funny to say that LMP2 needs to pass a GT3 for an overall position. You can see him doing it now. That will get his way worked forward as he goes. Paul Boyle here still trying to put some pressure on Bob Carey.
Indeed, and this is a battle that is likely not going to end anytime soon, as Paul Boyle really catches up to the back of Bob Carey here. Less than a few tenths separates these two drivers. Are we going to see it? Paul Boyle going around the outside. They're going to go side by side. He's going to fire it up the inside. And it looks like he's got that move done and dusted, but no, they're still side by side. Still duking out, but then Paul Boyle does get that position. The persistence pays off, and now he is up in a P7 in class, getting past the Mustang there, no issues. And they continue on in this race, and it looks like we are already seeing Paul Boyle really start to get a good gap here on to the car he just passed of Bob Carey. So he's got good pace here, but even then, Bob Carey is catching him on some of these corners. So I think this fight isn't quite over yet.
This is going to be a good fight to watch here as we go down to 20 minutes to go. 2/3 over, 1/3 remains here. Hugo Ortiz in P3 with William Westbrook in P2 and GT3 Pro and GT3 and Dayton McGuire with a great lead right now over Patrick Rich. 11 seconds and counting the gap that continues to increase. That's an amazing run to see here as Medley in P8 in the pros is just ahead of him trying to battle it out with Peter Nodwell, so it's impressive to see that go through. Patrick Rich, Andre Wedderburn battling it out here as they go through that 151 and that 45, the Porsche against the Mustang as they run their way through and along. Battles really sort of going ebbing and flowing here in this last 20 minutes as they go through. Kyle O'Grady trying to take on Wyatt Kennedy here in the battle for P6 in class, that DHL car. We'll see if he can ship anything out or if he is going to be sent back to the warehouse against that number 8 Aston Martin.
Indeed, we'll have to see if the Aston Martin can go ahead and get on through. Kyle O'Grady trying to get past the race sponsor here of Wyatt Kennedy, all trying to chase after that elusive Gello. So we'll see who can go ahead and acquire the Gello in Mugello as the number 93 car continues to go around. But it looks like we're going to have some extra competition here as Zachary Nerdy, P13 in the pro class, has caught right up to this group in his Aston Martin. It'll be Aston Martin on Aston Martin violence as they both chase down this DHL Honda or Acura, wherever you want to go ahead and call it.
I mean, I guess we should technically call it an Acura because it is an Acura. Great pass up the inside there for Zach Nerney on Kyle O'Grady, able to get that move done very cleanly as they have the number, who is that coming up? That's Kel Hagen. That is our overall race leader working his way through and along down the inside of Nerney. Here he goes, gets his way through, and that almost opens up a door there for Kyle O'Grady to get back past Nerney. He doesn't. Kel Hagen's going to work his way through, and your overall race leader currently with a 1.5-second gap on Cody Peridotto. But again, for Kel, it is all for moot at this point, as pit stops have kind of canceled any sort of positive run he could have. He knows his pit stop is going to take about 1.5 minutes at least. So unfortunately for him, it's just, this is running to enjoy the lead. Is all it really is.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all we can really hope for at this stage of the race. I mean, Cody Peridotto isn't catching a lot, so it'd be a bit of a tricky situation for Cody Peridotto to pass it before the race ends. If Kel Haugen did make his pit stop already, but he didn't, so really Cody Peridotto doesn't really have to do much of anything really. He's just got to kind of wait it out, and he'll once again jump onto the top step of the podium. But granted, there is still about 17.5 minutes left to go here in this multi-class hour, so anything can happen. Traffic could really throw a wrench into the works. It could shut down Cody Peridotto's recovery drive. I mean, it could bring out another caution, which would at least cheapen the pit stop for Kel Haugen. And I mean, you got to think that's partially what he's kind of waiting on here. He's waiting on the possibility of another safety car to come out and just allow him to get that pit stop for a little bit cheaper, get a bit of a discount on the pit stop. But I think so far, now that we have had everybody just kind of settle down a bit and just get into that groove, I don't think we're going to see another safety car here. But once again, anything can happen in racing.
I'm going to be honest, I have a feeling that safety cars got disabled after that second start. And then we had the big one. And I'm going to have a feeling that admin looked at that and said, I wish we had no disabled safety cars. But I have a feeling that was an attempt to get the racing moving, get things going, which definitely, I mean, would be the big goal of getting a race alive here. Callum Tobin was on the back of Colin Bourdon. Colin Bourdon now peels off into the pits and goes through. A few cars left to pit here Colin Bourdon Callan Tobin is not one of them. So Stenick, Ortiz, and Westbrook, your P1, 2, and 3, they still need to pit. So in the battle for GT3 Pro, Callan Tobin is currently in position to win. As it goes through, Brian Medderly is 11 seconds back from him, and that is technically who is slotted in to come into P2 once the pit stops happen.
Indeed, yeah. So, I mean, Callan Tobin is in a pretty good spot to go ahead and get a good win here. I mean, it has been a pretty solid race from him today. So, I mean, it would be a well-deserved victory because, I mean, honestly, you got to give a lot of credit to the drivers who've survived all these incidents that we had at the start of the race that pretty much took up at least the first half of this race was just yellow flags, incidents, and I mean, on a track like Mugello, it was just kind of always bound to happen. I mean, it's overcast. The tires aren't going to get as much of a chance to really heat up like the tires need to be. So, once again, it's been a bit of a tricky race for a lot of these drivers. But you got to give credit to a lot of drivers for playing it smart because I mean, I think strategy probably played a bigger hand in this race than almost any other factor, really.
I agree with that, and I think at this point we are in a position where things are going to be very, very interesting. JD Daniel here in third place, chasing down Cody Perodato in second place, which that shows up weird for some reason. But I can tell you right now, JD Daniel is chasing Cody Perodato, and that would be the run for the overall race lead. Again, Kel Hagen, with 14 minutes left to go, still needs to pit. So that puts Cody Perodato as your overall race leader currently. So we'll see how that handles out as JD Daniel will need to try to get past Cody. The gap with traffic is ebbing and flowing. It did come down very, very close, but now it's opened back up, so keep your eyes on that. Meanwhile, further back, Zach Nerney chasing down Brandon Burns in the Lamborghini there in the number 6 as they go down into turn 1. Let's see what that Fost racing car has to go as it tries to send up the inside, but is not close. Never mind. That is a send of sins, and he gets a great exit through, and he's able to make a great pass on Brandon Burns there for P11 in class.
I think Brandon Burns had a bit of a wide exit there, so I mean, that was good. Good capitalization there from Zachary Nerney to go ahead and just seize the opportunity. I mean, it did look like that Lamborghini did go wide, and it looks like Zachary Nerney is already about to put another move, this time onto Derek Rice, who is P3 in the GT3 AMP category, P26 overall. So once again, this race is still on. Still a lot of drivers fighting for these positions on the track right now. Zachary Nerney in the pro class in the Aston Martin is going to try to go ahead and try to get past here. We see a move though. Derek Rice trying to get one on Aaron Clayball, and it looks like that move will be done potentially. That would be a pass for position, but once again, Zachary Nerney still trying to close that gap up.
Watching plenty of battles through the field here. JD Daniel has gotten within a couple of tenths of Cody Perodato here, and we'll see how this battle develops as they go through. I don't believe they're teammates, even though they're running very similar paint schemes here. But you can see the desperation from Cody trying to get that pass done and around on the GT3 that was ahead as he goes through. Him and JD Daniel half a second separated, 12 minutes left to go, and both of them have pit. Again, reminder, they have pit, so this is going to be the battle as it goes through. That is Bob Carey off the track in the background. Very unfortunate for Bob. But as we go through here, the final 11 minutes, 45 seconds, all eyes on this battle. Checking in on GT3s as it stands, Callan Tobin still set to take the GT3 Pro lead when it comes through, with Brian Medderly into second, Martin Merkva into third. Just going to be a matter of getting Stenick, Ortiz, and Westbrook into the pits and out of the way. They are three of the final 5 cars that need to pit here, with Kel Hagen being the 4th of 5.
It's still pretty crazy that Kel Hagen has still yet to pit in this race here. I mean, he like you said, he pretty much is just enjoying being in the lead right now. And he'll probably pit in. If I were to make a guess, he would probably pit in around the final 5 minutes or so, just so he can kind of maximize how much he's led this race here. A little bit of stat padding, if you will. But I mean, we know Kiel Haugen is quick, and I mean, this will be a much bigger deal if he did already pit. But once again, strategy. He didn't pit under either safety car, and now it's coming back to bite him, as we have a very strong battle here for position. This could be a very spicy battle here in this LMP2 class. Once again, I believe that is, I'm trying to see which of the LMP2s that is at the moment, but regardless, it is a very strong battle here for position.
Yeah, this is still Cody Peredato and J.D. Daniel battling things out as they go. We now have had the pros going into the pits. Everyone but Hugo Ortiz has pit in, so Callan Tobin is slotted to take that overall lead, as that was Maxwell Woodmansee going off there in the background. Callan Tobin here again slotted to take that GT3 Pro lead, waiting on Hugo Ortiz, who is 4 seconds ahead, to jump into the pits here. JD Daniels still putting pressure on Cody Peredato. In the AM category, it is Andre Wedderburn who is currently leading right now over everyone as he goes through. He, though, right there, that's P2. Aaron Claywell, 0.3 of a second off. So let's see how that battle develops, as the AMs have not settled things out at all yet as they continue to battle through, as that is the 088 of Jonathan Lanton trying to make his way around.
We'll see if this is going to go in and work out for the LMP2 here. He'll get past one of the GT3s, but he will not get past the other just yet. Jonathan Lanton now needs to get past Andre Wedderburn. Ooh, that almost was an incident. He goes in and switches lanes, goes to the inside, and now he is back past Andre Wedderburn. P21 overall now for Jonathan Lanton. P14 for in-class positioning. And now he's got a bit of a gap to Parker Chiapuzio if he wants to get into the top 20 overall. But he does have the advantage of being in that faster LMP2 machine, so I would give it a little while, but I think he can definitely get that pass done well before this race wraps up here. But once again, this is now back to the question of when are some of these drivers who have yet to pit going to make their pit stops? Because there's still quite a few. Hugo Ortiz looks like he's into the pits finally, so he's going to go ahead and drop down the order a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and that's him now, just exiting the track. He's going to come out right behind Zachary Nerney in that number 31 Aston Martin. The two Aston Martins almost in formation, even though they have similar color schemes, different teams, but overall, he is back out onto the track. And I mean, not in a bad spot really, because he's still in the top 10 in class.
Great battle developing here up front. Cody Peredato, JD Daniel, they were side by side, and they continue to go back and forth. Does Cody Peredato have anything to take on JD Daniel here in the tank as they go along? I mean, look at this. JD is looking inside, outside, left, right, making Cody really drive that car hard. He makes the move out, he makes the move back, and he is trying to look through. I did want to comment on that moment we saw there with Lanton. I think that is a little bit of inexperience coming in for possibly Andre and Aaron, with a little miscommunication with Jonathan Lanton of letting him through and kind of just mismoving, just a miscommunication of lanes. You see that happen sometimes, but it is one of those that it can be scary when you see it happen. Right now, no miscommunication going on between Cody and JD Daniel, as Cody Peredato continuing to defend very aggressively here. Under 7 minutes to go for Cody to hold on here to this race win if he can, but JD Daniel is looking very quick in the LMP2s.
Yeah, that number 155 is doing a fantastic job of putting pressure on the Cody Peredato. He's going to continue, but it looks like Cody Peredato has been able to pull away ever so slightly, pulling away a bit of a gap, even though for right now this is for P2 and P3. Haugen still needs to pit, so this is effectively a battle for the lead here, as we are now riding from the rear fender of Cody Peredato's number 51, that same championship winning car from last season. He's doing a pretty good job, but I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to JD Daniel. It's only his second race in elbows out, and he's already challenging one of the league's elite drivers in Cody Perodato.
Well, I don't think this is done either. I think JD Daniel possibly dropping back a little bit, kind of recouping and gathering things up to make another charge here. I don't think he's going to be done in any way, shape, and or form. I also want to jump back here really quick. Aaron Clayball has been passed by Tyler Stenick. They are not in class together, but Stenick trying to work his way around Andre now. Stenick and Andre go side by side here. That's going to open up the door for Aaron Clayball. Aaron Clayball is going to try to make a run to the outside here. Can he go for the GT3M lead in that Aston Martin? He's going to send it through. It'll be a drag race down to the corner. Inside will have the advantage, but outside will have the run. Let's see how this shapes through as they make their way around. It's still side by side, but the Mustang able to pull just enough of a run here, and Andre Wedderburn somehow defends the GT3M lead over Aaron Clayball. That was very, very close.
Yeah, there looked like a lot of moments where Clayball was actually going to end up in the grass there, which, I mean, doing that in these conditions, I mean, it's still dry on track, but I mean, it's a bit of a colder track. I mean, granted, these tires are definitely well up to temp by now, but I mean, you just ran out of real estate there, and it could have been a really bad situation for him. As now we are seeing Zachary Nerney getting into this mix now. He's only P6 in his class, but now he is battling for that P20 overall position. So he's going to try. He's pretty much inserted himself right in between this battle for the GT3 AM lead here. As we see a few cars going into the gravel there as they go to fight for position. Zachary Nerney is now going to go to get ahead of Andre Wedderburn. And now the battle for the GT3 AM lead still continues on with about 4 minutes left to go. Andre Wedderburn still defending from Aaron Clayball here. And these cars are really close as they make their way through the twisty sectors of this racing circuit.
Down the inside, great move there from Aaron Clayball to get past Andre Wedderburn. Gets that pass executed beautifully right in that moment and gets through. Check it back in up front here. JD Daniel, half a second, 0.3 of a second off of Cody Perodato, trying to work his way through. There's going to be a little bit of a squeeze there from the number 61 of Fozzie Fazzillo, who is a lap down currently on the field as the leaders work their way through, and he is going to try to stay out of the way. A little bit of a slide there from JD Daniel, who is really pushing that car, trying to catch up to Cody Perodato, but unfortunately the more he pushes, I fear the slower he's going to get as we go through. He continues along and keeps this fight alive going through. And in GT3 Pro, I do want to check in Callan Tobin. It's a 16.5 second lead over Brian Medderly. There's the words I'm trying to say here. As we're under 3 minutes to go. Kel Hoggins still needs to pit, by the way. I am very shocked that he has not. He is the only driver I show that has not. Well, actually, him and Ethan Murphy have both not taken pit stops. Ethan Murphy has been in the lane. However, he has not been in the box. So they've got to come this lap or the next lap.
Yeah, otherwise that's going to be a pretty nasty penalty coming their way if they don't make it. I would honestly just try to get it done this lap just to kind of get it over with and give him a chance to kind of fight back. Maybe snag a fastest lap in the process because he will be on super fresh tires with the lowest amount of fuel out of anybody in this LMP2 field. But once again, we'll just have to see how it does play out. Kel Haugen still in the lead of this race, but once again, that number 49, he's got a pit, so he's really got to go ahead and just get it done, because I think if he tries to wait till next lap, it might just be a bit too late for him.
Well, he's going to see if he can make it work here. We're going to find out together what he does as he goes through. And again, as I said, I believe it is Ethan Murphy who still needs to pit in as well. So unless there is a glitch on my software, which I don't believe there is, I believe that they are the ones who still need to go through. Nicholas Paletti and Malik Bass, I don't believe took tires looking at what I'm seeing here. So there's a lot of interesting things here on the timing screen that I'm not sure if it's wrong because of the cautions or what it might be. But it shows some interesting moments as we go through here. Cody Perodato, JD Daniel, they're separated by about a second and some change right now as they work their way through some lap traffic. Let's see if Kel Hagen pits in this lap.
We'll see. I mean, I'd be really surprised if he doesn't. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty much now or never for Kel Hagen. He needs to just get it done. I'm honestly surprised he put it off this long, because he could have pitted and still had fresh tires to try to claw his way back through the field. Yep, he's going to fire on into the pits, so he's finally going to go ahead and just give it up and call it into the pits. But I mean, he's at some pretty good pace, though, I would say, for being on older tires. He was keeping a pretty good gap to Cody Peredato, so I think Kel Hagen, if he made his pit stop early, he had a pretty solid chance of winning this race. But this does mean that the battle for the overall race win is still alive and well. The white flag is out. This will be the final tour around this circuit for all of these drivers. And it looks like Cody Peredato might take victory again, but I think Jaden Daniels still has a good amount of fight left in him.
We'll certainly find out as we go through, and in the battle for GT3M, that gap has separated by about a second and some change here. Let's see as they go through final round of defense here. JD Daniel, though, losing tons of time. I think he's asked too much of the tires. I think he's ran a bit too far here, as the gap is going to be 2 seconds now. 1.7 and opening, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. I think unfortunately it's going to be a little bit too much for him going through as he goes and brings his way along. Again, unfortunate to see that just is what it is as he goes through. Again, he's not battling the 95 of clay ball. Interesting that says that. We'll see what happens here as we come through the final sectors. It's been such a great run from Cody Peredato, though. He's going to go back-to-back with wins. I mean, that is a great way to kick off your season, as a back-to-back win and just get comfortable.
Indeed. I mean, once again, Cody Peredato returning to winning ways. He's coming across the line now, and Cody Peredato will find the Gello first in the Gello Multiclass Hour here at Mugello. And what a drive. He started from the back of the field, made his way up to the front, and he will go ahead and take victory as Callan Tobin, making his way through the final quarters now, will take a very strong victory here in the GT3 Pro category here in Mugello.
Callan Tobin running that Mustang here, having a great time in it. He'll bring it across the line here and get that Mustang to the top step and go through. He's got 1 star on the car. He might as well put 1 star on the door jam there and mark himself out for a victory. Behind them all, Aaron Clayball will come through, and he's taking that Aston Martin. He's fought Andre Wedderburn hard. He's not necessarily done with it here, as they've got a little bit further in this lap to go. Will Andre Wedderburn have a run? I don't believe so. It does look like Aaron Clayball here, if he can hold on to it, might have that Aston Martin in the front. Let's see how they handle the final couple of corners here. It looks like Aaron Clayball might be able to keep the defense here, and if he does, it'll be a great victory. He's going to come around the final corner here, brings it across, brings it up the hill, and he is going to land himself a win in GT3M here in Elbows Out Racing. A great victory here over Andre Wedderburn. It's been hard fought all the way to the line.
Indeed, this is a really fun battle to watch, and hopefully we see more of it throughout the season, because Aaron Clayball and Andre Wedderburn, they were fighting hard, but they also respected each other on track at the moment, as we have a bit of a spin there, bit of some victory donuts there from not the donut guy, but Callan Tobin, and putting a little bit of gravel on the track, but it's all right. The checker flag is already out, and that is the 60 minutes of multi-class action here of the drivers on the search to find their Gello, as the results are now on your screen. It'll be Cody Peredato taking the race win from the back of the field to the front, going coast to coast here, followed by JD Daniel, Emily Milky rounding out our podium here. And then there's Austin Diltz, Kel Haugen, Aiden Garcia, Paul Boyle, Nicholas Poletti, Malik Bass, and Andrew Parker rounding out our top 10 here in the LMP2 category.
See, kids, this is why you remember to hit the unmute button before you talk. Maxwell Woodman C, Fozzie Fazillo, Lanton, Carey, Hibbs, Ackley, and Patrick, the 17 LMP2s that took on today's race. Now going through GT3 Pro, Callan Tobin, Ian Tanzius, Brian Metterly, Peter Nodwell, Stenik, Nerney, Paul Nye, William Westbrook, Julius Machewski, and Mike Sermon, your top 10. Chiapuzzo, Bordon, Burns, Merkva, Ortiz, Murphy, and Bell, your GT3 pros. In the AM category, they finish as follows. It is going to be Clayball, Wedderburn, Rice, O'Grady, Kennedy, Santrosiero, McGuire, Ondera, Hughes, Hemperly, your top 10, with Rich, Bibb, Keyser, Yorp, and Narrow, the 15 cars in GT3 AM. Tell you what do you say we start this chat with our race sponsor? He didn't win. He finished P5, but he did do some express overnight shipping of some beautiful racing. Let's bring in Wyatt Kennedy and get a quick word with him here as we get things going. Mr. Kennedy.
All right, Wyatt can go ahead. You can take it.
Wyatt.
Yeah.
First of all, did you find your Gello at Mugello?
I found it. I think it caused all those accidents to start the race.
I thought you would have something to do with that. Talk me through what was happening in kind of the comms when those cautions happened, especially that second restart and the huge wreck that happened that didn't have a caution. I want to know what the driver comms sounded like.
Well, so I was in a party with only 6 of us, so I wasn't in the full group, but it was a lot of communication on where the wrecks were happening so that we as a group could get through them. But that was definitely an interesting first experience with the cautions on.
I think it was a lot of fun going through it. Definitely, when you add something new to a league like that, especially, full course cautions in trying to replicate that experience, there is a little bit of trial and error going through, but it seems like everyone handled it well. I got to ask for you, do you think there's anything different you could have done this race?
Honestly, no. I took advantage of pitting under caution, which netted me 4 or 5 positions. I had a 12x before we even did a green flag lap from fucking little context during the cautions and stuff, but I didn't have any actual damage. So, once we finally started having green flag laps, I had gained 10 positions from qualifying, so I just had to stay clean the rest of the way and not get 5 more off tracks to give me a drive through. So I finished with 16x instead of the 17x that gives you a drive through, but we'll take it.
Nice. And Wyatt, before we let you go, man, anyone you want to thank or shout out? Of course, you are the sponsor of today's race, so the floor is yours.
Just shout out Gello. As a father to a 1-year-old, their snacks are my snacks.
You know what? I respect that, man. I thought Gello might have just been coming up like you were just coming up with a wordplay, but I'm glad to know that it actually is some real life implications there. So, yeah, good to know that.
I enjoyed Gello for real. It was
I'm not gonna...
obviously the easiest track to meme the name, but
I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to say that that's an interesting taste in snacks, and I will leave it there. So, Wyatt, man, congratulations on a good run. A big shout out goes to you for sponsoring this week's race, and we're going to let you go chill.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And next, Patrick, we're going to let you talk to Cody Perodato, who I think we're getting to know really well at this point in the booth.
All right, so Cody Perodato, welcome back to essentially your second home here at Elbows Out Racing, the Victory Comms Box. You didn't qualify due to the success balance, but you still pretty much just fought your way through and took victory. So how are you feeling tonight?
Pretty good. A little tired of putting around at 50 miles an hour, but it was still had some good racing in there. I'm proud of a few overtakes I did. I think I did all right. Yeah, not the worst race ever. It was still pretty fun.
I was just going to ask you about your thoughts of the two incidents that pretty much just caused cautions pretty much back to back essentially. So what were your thoughts during those moments?
Um, just hoping to avoid it with most of it. I really didn't directly see any of the big wrecks that threw any of the cautions. I don't think. When we did our final single file restart after the second one, there was a big wreck in the LMP2 field that kind of made my race in the end. That I managed to get around that safely, and I didn't see any of the ones that caused the cautions, but I'm sure there's something we'll have to look at here afterwards.
Yeah, indeed. It was a bit chaotic during the race start. I mean, I'm sure as racing drivers, you guys just kind of want to go, go, go. So going about 45 miles an hour behind a safety car isn't exactly the most exhilarating thing on the planet. But two more questions before we do let you go. First off, did you find your Gello here at Mugello?
I guess I did. I'll have to go buy some. I suppose I'll need to have that as a pre-race thing. I guess if it's gonna have this result every week, 'cause I gotta start at the back next week again. So
I guess we have started a new pre-race ritual here for Mr. Peridotto. But before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
big thanks to Wyatt for sponsoring today's race. Of course, I really appreciate people putting in the time and money to let us do this. I was hanging out with him during the race, and it was good to hang out with that group of people. Big thank you to you guys for putting on a good broadcast, of course. I really appreciate all of the admin team running stuff in the background. I know our cautions and stuff this race didn't go the way we really wanted it to, but I know we're going to put a bunch of time and effort in to get them fixed and better for next week.
All right, I agree. I mean, it was a good race despite all the chaos initially. And once again, another very strong drive from you. Congratulations, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
And next up, let's pull in our GT3 Pro winner, Mr. Tobin. Callan Tobin, welcome into the booth, sir. How did Mugello treat you?
Yeah, what's up, guys? That was a crazy race. First time winning and elbows out, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if I call it an actual win. I think I just found some luck.
Definitely thought it was a good run from you there, man. I gotta ask, you were one of the multiple drivers that pit under the second caution. Kind of talk me through your decision there. I assumed a lot of people would, but less people than I thought pit under caution. What made you decide to do it?
Yeah, it was making me nervous because I figured that Paul and I had tested something out, and I just told myself I'm going to do whatever Paul and I does. And he didn't go into the pits, and I was like, I feel like this is a free pit. I don't know why he's not going in. So I just said, screw it. We're gonna try it. And I thought that was maybe a bad move, but after that third restart, I don't know what happened. But I like passed most of the field. Is like just the sea parted, and I found an opening, and I was in P10 by the end of the lap. And once I realized everyone else in front of me hadn't pit, I was just like, okay, at this point, it's just don't wreck, don't get involved in something stupid. But no, it was a great race. It was fun. I'm glad to get my first win, and love the league, love what Paul Nye is doing, and I'm glad he had balls to actually put some yellow flags into the race. I think it was kind of exciting. So if he, if he fine tunes it, I think it's pretty cool.
I definitely agree with you on that one. It was something that when he kind of told me before it was announced, he told me he was teasing the idea and thinking about it, and I was a big proponent of it. So I'm glad to see it implemented. Some fine tuning. I think it'll be great. But Callum, man, before we let you go here, anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Man, you guys, Paul, the team that's running the organization, but obviously my wife and my two daughters, they allow me to get some racing in when I can, and I'm not working, so I'll miss the next 2 races, and hope to come back in 3 weeks and give an actual run for a podium without some crazy cautions, but we'll see.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you here in a few weeks then.
Yeah, thanks.
And last but not least, Patrick, we'll let you catch up with the GT3 winner of Aaron Claybaugh.
Hey,
Hey,
Aaron,
guys.
congratulations on your GT3 AM win here tonight. It was down to the wire with you and Andre Wedderburn there. So kind of walk us through those final few laps.
Yeah, Andre raced me so clean, but so hard. That was a blast racing with him. Him and I both took those free pit stops at the beginning. I think I pitted on the first caution and he pitted on the second. So I had my eyes on him for most of the race, trying to catch him and wheel him down so that I could try to get him because I knew him and I think we were going to overtake everyone when everyone had to pit, and it worked out that way, thankfully.
Indeed. So how do you think the cautions kind of affected the race? Were you planning on cautions when you were kind of thinking about your strategy, or was it mostly just kind of a reactionary thing when these cautions came out?
So when the first Gello came out, I was looking at my fuel tank. I was like, well, if I just, and I honestly probably could have done a better job, but I just threw a full tank in on that on that first pit stop. I had about half fuel to start and was planning to pit it halfway without any yellows. But then once that yellow came out, I was just like, well, hey, it's a free pit stop. And I was really shocked that not many other people came down on that first stop. Now then a couple more did on the second, but really expected more of the field to take advantage of that. And they didn't. So it opened up a sea for a couple of us guys that were towards the back to jump a lot of them and get towards the front. Because I was definitely not one of the quickest cars here tonight. I was very slow in practice getting up to speed with this car.
I mean, I honestly think you did a pretty good job. I mean, you were chasing down Wedderburn like he stole your Gello here at Mugello. So it looks like you did get it back eventually, but overall, it does sound like you had a lot of fun here tonight. Last question before we let you go. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out after tonight's race?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Appreciate you putting all the hard work in for this. I want to thank Paul and all the admins for putting this league on, and I want to thank my race team, Doge Squad Racing. Nick Paletti, man, he had a lot of good pace here tonight. Unfortunately, got taken out on that second restart. Paul Boyle and Travis Bell, who had some electric issues, so fortunately he wasn't able to do much racing here tonight, but did some good spotting work. And lastly, I want to thank my wife and my son for letting me to have a little bit of time on a Wednesday night and go racing. It was a blast.
Indeed. Once again, congratulations on your win here tonight, Aaron, and we will see you next week.
All right, take care, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, Patrick, I tell you what, it has been a fun little Wednesday night, as it always is, but all Wednesday nights must come to an end. So with that being said, just want to go back and see this moment one more time. Any final thoughts before we let this one go?
I do want to thank everybody here just for showing up tonight. I want to congratulate all of our race winners. A special thank you to Wyatt Kennedy for sponsoring tonight's race. And honestly, even though the safety cars did kind of chew into about the first half of the race, the second half more than made up for it. We saw some excellent battles, some excellent racing, some good, clean racing. And honestly, I'm ready to do it all again next week.
I definitely think it's going to be fun to watch, but of course, to get to next week, we have to get through the rest of this week, and that will mean getting through Sunday, which is going to be triple bypass, and then Tuesday, which is triple bypass before we get back here next Wednesday. But that's going to be where we end this one off. It seems like in the end, we all did find our Gello at Mugello. The Gello was missing for a multi-class hour. I tell you what, I think we all found it. But on behalf of Patrick, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us for the next one where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.